Thank God it's Monday. Love stuff like this because Monday, for me anyways, represents the first opportunity you have every week to get better at something, whatever it is that you want to get better at. You only have so many opportunities. Time is very, very limited, so you're going to want to make the most of it with what you have. Tony Robbins once said there's only so many tomorrows. And when you approach life that way, you'll realize that, one day tomorrow's not going to be an option anymore. So if I want to get something done, if I want to accomplish something, I got to do it now. And I got to do it to the best of my ability with the time that I have. Now, as it relates to training, because I always want to talk about how to maximize your return on investment of time and effort as it relates to your training, whether it's to build muscle, get stronger, or whatever, a lot of people will focus on their parameters and they'll let their parameters dictate their effort. Now, the return you get on your investment is largely or entirely the result of the time and effort that goes into it. And a lot of people will misconstrue that and they'll think, oh, it's time. If I put in more time, then I'm going to get a better result. I'm going to get a better return on my investment, but it's not. It's your effort that is going to influence the most what you get from what you do. And when people focus on their parameters and they let their parameters dictate their effort, what they're not doing is putting forth a max effort. And if you're not putting forth a max effort, you're not going to get a maximum return. So an example would be someone will follow, 3 sets of 10. And what they'll do, you probably see this all the time, 7, 8, 9, the last one, it's barely going up, and then boom, they get to 10. Why the fuck did that just happen? How did you get 9 effortlessly, and then 10 was very, very difficult? What happens is people will make a neural association with the amount of reps that they're performing and the result that they want. They think 3 sets of 10 is going to build the body that they want. Therefore, they'll concentrate their efforts and they'll focus on doing whatever they need to do to get to 10 because 10 is equals result, right? No. And, what happens is they're limiting their return on investment. You're there. Put in the time, put in the effort, go the extra mile to get what you want. And you can do that by throwing the parameters in the garbage, turning a clock on. This is a form of density training. Density refers to the amount of work done per unit of time. So if you do more work per unit of time, you're maximizing your time and therefore you're going to maximize your return. So you turn the clock on and you do as many reps as you can in the time you've given yourself, whether it's 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. This was first introduced by a guy named Charles Staley, I believe, or at least he popularized it in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And all you do is you just perform as many reps as you can in the time you've given yourself. The next time that you do the same workout or do the same exercise, you just got to beat the number that you did. It doesn't matter how many sets you do. It doesn't matter how many times you need to rest. You just focus on putting forth your best effort in the time you've given yourself. And when you give yourself a deadline, what happens is your focus intensifies, your efforts are more concentrated, and you're going to put forth a better effort. When you see that the end is near, when you know, like, hey, I only got to try hard for 5 minutes or 8 minutes, it doesn't sound like that much. And a lot of people would say probably that, yeah, I can focus really, really hard for 5 minutes at a time, not realizing at first that it's going to be really, really fucking hard work, but that's what it's supposed to be because your return on investment is the result of your effort, and the harder you work, the more effort you put in, the greater your result is going to be. I remember Vince Lombardi once said the only place that success comes before hard work, or work in this case, is in the dictionary. Obviously, hard would be before success if you go from A to Z, but you know what I mean. The only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. Therefore, to get the most return on your investment of time and effort, what you're going to want to do is find a way to maximize your effort output. How can you do that? And when people focus on their sets and their reps and they focus on the parameters and they're married to their parameters and they let their parameters dictate their effort, what they're ultimately doing is limiting the end result that they could have if they just threw that out and concentrated their effort on putting, the most amount of effort into everything that they did. So that's one thing I wanted to share because that's something that anybody can immediately apply to their workouts today to maximize their return on investment of time and effort. Now, depending on what you train for, you're going to want to modify how you include that into your workouts. But for the most part, this is directed at the people who are married to their parameters and are just basically, stopping because, 10, you're supposed to stop at 10. No, it's about the effort that you put in. Michael Jordan once said, I know I'm big on quotes, I can accept failing. Everybody fails at something. I cannot accept not trying. Anybody I work with, anybody that talks to me about how to maximize their return on investment of time and effort, how to get better results, the number one thing I always revert back to is effort. You get what you put in, right? Obviously, you want to, do the right exercises and perform them the right way. But if you're not trying, if you're not putting in the effort, if you're not putting in a maximum effort, if you're limiting yourself because, the parameters are dictating your effort, then you're missing the forest for the trees. So that's something I wanted to share that you could employ immediately, is to throw the parameters out and just do your work based on the clock. Set a deadline so that, Parkinson's law, right? Your effort will increase or decrease in direct proportion to the time allotted that you've given yourself. If you give yourself a lot of time to get something done, you're going to take a lot of time to get it done. If you give yourself a little bit of time to get something done, your efforts are going to be very, very concentrated. Your focus is going to be where it needs to be, as intense as it needs to be, so that you can maximize your time and effort and maximize the return on investment. Okay, I know I said effort a million times, so I'll end it there. That's the easiest way that you can, apply to your workouts starting today. If you like the information, feel free to share it. Click the fucking button at the bottom. Subscribe to the channel. I'll keep bringing it.